Hello, everyone. Happy New Year. Happy 2026. And I know a lot of you guys are probably expecting some PicoNav update videos, but today's not that video. That video is coming very, very soon. I actually shipped out the beta test units earlier last month, and most of the users have received them, and we've got a lot of really fun things to talk about in the next probably couple of days. But that's not that video. While I was streaming a few days ago, somebody was talking to me about an everyday bag carry type of video, like a what's in my bag kind of video. And I wasn't really planning on making that video. I don't know if anybody really cares about that. But one thing that really struck out to me was my favorite piece of tech that I purchased last year that I kept talking about over and over and over to the point where I think it just warranted its own short video. So I wanted to talk about it. I bought a lot of stuff last year, and as some of you guys know, I turned 30 last year as well, so I had a little bit of a midlife crisis, which led me to purchasing this guy here. This is the Lumix GM5. Um, for those of you who don't know anything about photography, much like myself, this is a 9-year-old camera that has quite literally changed my life. I know that sounds like hyperbole, but um, let me explain. This camera is largely responsible for the best vacation that I've ever taken in my life, and it's also changed the way that I view really everything about my day-to-day life and technology as a whole. So, my day job requires me to interface a lot with technology and phones. I work at an IT service provider for major Fortune 50 companies. So something like a smartphone cannot really be avoided. I absolutely have to use this thing, whether I like it or not. And I'm in a fortunate position where I have a lot of these things, and I've tried a lot of different techniques in order to minimize my usage, right? Like I've tried just a black and white screen, just really basic, simple menus and things. I've deleted everything, every kind of app that doesn't have or that has infinite scrolling outside of like YouTube. And that's good to a point. And I know that social media slash technology detoxes are really popular right now. But I think beneath all of the, YouTube grift, there is some level of validity to that in that we need to change the way that we interact with our technology. So for me, a dumb phone was not the solution. I think if you guys were around at some point in time, like I've tried the Light Phone 3, I hated it. And eventually I began to realize that what I use my phone for at this point in time is for research and communication. And I don't really use it for anything overtly personal or documenting my life, which is why outside of, obviously the people that I'm messaging or the information that's on my phones themselves are not very personal. Like, yeah, they're kind of customized and whatnot and they're quirky colors, but I don't have a good way to document like my experiences to the point where I was looking through my phone one day and I realized that I don't have a lot of really personal artifacts on there. Most of my photos are just like samples of me collecting info or data or what have you. But I didn't have any photos of me. I didn't have many photos of like my wife. I have a lot of cat photos, a lot. But also like the pictures that I took weren't particularly good quality. And I don't know how many of you guys have the same issue where like you take a picture on your phone and it feels kind of like junk food, right? It's serviceable, it gets the point across. Maybe you're just sharing a status update, you're sharing whatever, a Snapchat or a TikTok or a video or whatever. And they're not anything that you would feel proud to like print or put on a wall or put into a wallet or whatever. And I wanted to change that. So, a part of my midlife crisis, I booked a flight to Japan. I took this thing with me and I said, I am going to document my travels there. And it was the greatest decision I ever made. Um, by and far, it was the absolute best vacation that I've ever took. And I remember so much more about this vacation than I did for really any other trip that I've ever been on. Now, yes, it does help that it's one of the places that I've always wanted to go to in my life, but also it was because I very consciously chose to not use my phone for many things outside of like basic navigation. right? And I was able to use a tool that was hand selected and purpose built for the exact thing that I wanted. And a large part of this particular camera and why I chose this one is because I'm the kind of person who, like, when you pick something up, I need to be able to instantly just feel joy. I need to like look at this thing, smile, hold this thing, and start cheesing, like just ear to ear grinning. And this thing really does it for me. Um, if you're like me 3 months ago, 4 months ago, and you know nothing about photography, let me just quickly gush and explain why I absolutely adore this camera. First off, it is a micro four thirds camera, so it is interchangeable with the lenses. That means you can actually buy and replace these different lenses here. So I actually have another one. I have a portrait lens. It's not really a portrait lens. I guess it's a regular like 20 millimeter or 40 mil equivalent in full frame. Really high quality Lumix lens. It has an EVF or electric viewfinder, so you can frame and compose, shots in whichever way you want. It's also really good for like sunny days and stuff. And the last thing is that it is tiny. It is so small. I mean, like it is smaller than my phone. Small. Like it's so small. Now this thing is relatively rare in the camera space. Like these things are obviously no longer produced. They're 9 years old. And even to this day, they sell for just under, if not exactly at MSRP. So the average cost of these are like $1,000 or so. And you can buy a perfectly nice, reasonable camera for significantly less. You can buy things with a lot more compute power as well, but this one just had every single thing that I was looking for, and I would settle for no less. So 3 weeks of hunting and a couple of other sample cameras for me to try and figure out what I like later, and we ended up with this thing here. And we're at the point now where like I carry my tiny little fanny pack with me on basically every trip. It goes in my EDC bag. It goes with me on like nights out with nights out, geez, nights out with friends. It goes with me on work trips. Everything that you can imagine, I take this thing with me, and I'm just taking photos of like anything I can find. I go on walks and I try to capture unique moments because the other thing that I did what and it's something that like my friends and family did not understand was I don't post these to social media or anything like that. I've dreamed for a while to have my own website full of just photo albums. And when I got this camera, it's exactly what I did. So over the Christmas holiday, I created a website and actually I'll put this on screen here, but like I created a website that had all of my travels and I basically had like a presentation and I explained to like friends and family, this is where we were, this is what I did. I told them all the crazy stuff that we did and I put, like little timestamps with the locations that we were at and stuff like that too. And it was a really fun way to recount my time and look back fondly at what I think is a visually appealing photo. And again, professional photographers can mock me because I'm a scrub and I just started doing this. B, have interesting stories to tell behind all of them, and C, do something creative just for the love of doing it, right? There's no ulterior motive. There's no secondary hope that, this will get a lot of likes or attention or anything on social media because they're not going there. These are for me to sit on my private website, on my tiny little hard drive over here, and just enjoy the process, enjoy the time for what it is. And then also, you get these little, look, I printed some of these. There's more to it, but this is just the one that I have because it's actually going to go inside of my little pocket binder. I ordered like a little photo, um, whatever cover thing, so that way I can like put this inside my binder as well. So that's going to be like a really fun thing to include. But it's just something that like I don't know, haven't you guys ever just looked at old family photos that like maybe your mom and dad or your grandfather have taken and you just like wonder where those have gone? It's something to me that as I get older, I realize that I need to be a little bit more intentional with my surroundings because the time we have here is fleeting and ephemeral, and I really wanted to look back fondly and really just craft my own story and tell it in a way that other people can be transported in that moment and feel something with me. I know that's really sappy and really sentimental and cheesy, but I don't know. I think it was a really important piece of tech. I absolutely love this thing. Um, that's all I gotta say. in the next couple of days or so, we'll actually have our PicoNav update video. But I want to keep this video under 10 minutes. Thank you all for listening. It's been super fun, and have a wonderful 2026.